So I think it works both the ways. I think the brand needs to be very cautious in terms of who they want to work with, right? Rather than one, if I know that my objective is simply brand awareness, go to someone who will give me that far better reach, right? So say somebody who has 1 million followers, and if I want to create a hub where I at least want to reach 30% of that audience because I simply want them to know my brand, then I would prefer to go with someone like that. But if my intention is to do something else, like if I want to educate someone, say for example, if I want to educate someone of how to cook or how to make a recipe using one of our products, then my whole intention will be to go to someone who has one, a more authentic following, second, who's an expert in that format day in and day out. Second, the audience pool is not built overnight and is seeing that trust and authenticity in the person who's actually making that recipe out of nothing. Like look at the homegrown home chefs, right? You have Kavita's Kitchen, you have Madhura, you have Kanak Kapoor. So these people have grown over a point of time building expertise in an X program, right? So say for example, okay. Similarly, look at Byju's. They have created this platform where they have started with education to be on an e-learning platform, right? So the way you choose your medium, the way you choose your influencer has to be thought through. And like Rohit said, it's very, very true that there has to be some process aligned to this madness, because you're not doing it just because someone else is doing it. Yeah, it is a need. Since generations, we've always been talking about word of mouth advertising to be most authentic type of advertising, right? Influencer marketing is nothing. It's just people powered brand where there is someone who's speaking about your brand who feels that your brand is more authentic, and hence someone who would want to try and test your product. Influencer marketing falls in the same bracket, but yes, you need to ask the right question in terms of what is it going to give my ad. And if it is just awareness and not leading back to the whole circle of adding some sales numbers, then was that influencer marketing really successful for me? I don't know. Has it built preference? That's something that you can still test under certain parameters. But even if it is built preference, I know I'm a step ahead from just creating awareness. So I think, yes, we have to add a particular objective and a method to this madness to get things right. And the onus is on both the sides. More on the brand, because at the end of the day, the brand knows how they want to drive to the consumer and what is it that they want to see. So I think it is 70-30 where the brand gets to decide the larger chunk, because nobody knows their audience and their brand better. So there could be two ways to look at this question, right? One is if I have a long-term strategy with influencers, the way you tie up is you would not want one influencer to consistently do the same kind of content for you for some time, because then it looks very much forced and it seems to be unauthentic and who someone is paid for, right? And hence you don't want to build that kind of aura around, and hence the idea of not working with the same influencer again for some time and then repeating the influencer, right? That brings a little authenticity to the content. But whereas if you plan really to work long term with an influencer, a lot of them may not work because they were just experimenting in terms of whether the influencer marketing will not work. And if they don't see the required results, the way they want to draw a circle from awareness to building preference to purchase, if they don't see that cycle completing, to quite an extent, they would want to draw a hand apart, right? For brands who are pretty new on social, it makes a lot of sense to use multiple influencers over a point of time, because you're still building that awareness and building to know what can the product really do. But for brands who are well established, to give an example of chains, right? Brand awareness is not the problem that we face. It is the usage of the product as a problem that we face, because these are packed goods and you may not really know how do you consume a product or what more can you make out of the product, right? The way we would use influencers would be very different vis-a-vis someone would use an influencer for awareness perspective. and hence working with the same influencer again within a span of 2 months is either not advisable.
Yeah.
I get that question. Coming to micro and nano influencers, you know for sure that the people who are following are far more engaged. Well, it completely depends on what you want to try. In India, we are still a mass consumption brand where people would still want to prefer TV as a medium, right? So, if 10% of your budget is of digital marketing, we would at least suggest spending 3% in influencer marketing. Depending on your objective, and your creative has to be very, very contextual to help you get the right required turnaround. Not with Capital Foods, but in my past experiences, we have done Twitter influencer campaign and LinkedIn influencer campaign. The way Twitter is, it's very limited, right? And it's more of a news giving platform and has a wider reach. So, like Vidooly is one of the tools, you can go back to Group M. We've done most of our campaigns with Group M, and they would help you to understand better of how to approach it. But you set the objective of what is it that the message you want to drive out, and hence you tie up more than about 100 influencers to actually start a conversation on Twitter about an the, the conversation timeline is very limited, restricting it to 230 to 70 words, but you would have to communicate your message during that time to make sure that the people who are following get the message right. For example, we had done a campaign with Virendra Sehwag for a protein brand in the past, which gave us wonderful results, right? It was one influencer on Twitter who helped us get views within 2 hours. That's the reach of Twitter. So the way you use the platform will also matter in the kind of communication you make. Coming to LinkedIn, LinkedIn is a very, very professional platform, and hence what you want to say at that stage has to be professional, because at the end of the day, you've been viewed as an organization, and whatever you speak will speak for you or your organization that you are working at. So LinkedIn is a little tricky as in the way you communicate, but you cannot communicate like you communicate on Facebook for sure. Right? I cannot say that if I'm saying make this recipe using chings on Facebook, I cannot say that on LinkedIn. Maybe I'll have to say looking at a hunger pang for a 4 p.m. Maybe chings noodle is the solution for you. Or kill your hunger pang. So the conversation has to be within the context and the audience whom you're going to speak to on the platform.